Emergency management. Anaheim staffs a full-time emergency management bureau with representatives from police and fire departments. Our city has a permanent and ready and fully operational EOC. In addition, the police department has 2 department operating centers, one at headquarters and one at the East Anaheim facility. The center is supported by Web EOC and our Enterprise Virtual Operating Center, or EVOC. I'm going to quickly let you review that so you see what would be available to you, men and women of the council and city management, in event of an emergency. What you're looking at the screen now is web-based. It would be available to you anywhere where you had web access in the world. And what you're looking at, the round dots are police cars that are on a call. If you roll the mouse over the dot, you'll be able to see what the call is and drill down into that. The triangles are available units, so they're not on a call at that particular time. I'd like to talk a little bit about some of the documents. So we don't have earthquakes and terrorist events all that often, or large fires, but when they happen, we're all asked to know what our role is as a city council member, or mayor, or city manager. What you're looking at here is a library of all documents that you need to run your EOC. If you need to have a mayor's proclamation, you have to have a curfew, you have to close an area, you need to know what the duties of your assigned role is at the EOC, or anyone else in your city for that matter. All that information is here at your fingertips from wherever you sit. We also have a very robust camera system, so any IP cameras that the city of Yorba Linda has or chooses to use later is, again, it's here at your fingertips to view from anywhere where you can gain web access. You're looking at our front counter, this live feed from the front counter. We have live feed from this is a live feed from the command vehicle that's parked out back of the community center. Most all the traffic cameras in the city. This happens to be Anaheim and Ball Road. And this is live footage, video downlink from Angel, our police helicopter. So if you were worried about the status of Prado Dam, or you're worried about the status of your roads after an earthquake, and you needed to you wanted to see real time what was happening, our helicopter will put it on your desktop or your BlackBerry. And we're going to move a little bit into technology. This is an important point in terms of bang for your buck, so I'm going to walk you through this diagram of police activity in Anaheim. I'll start with the station. That's the East Station where your officers would be deployed from. So they show up in briefing every day. They get information about crime trends and wanted people and any other business information, and they leave and they're going to come to Anaheim or Yorba Linda, and they're going to receive calls for service or generate activity. All of that activity is then transmitted wirelessly into our CAD RMS system. Now, it's important that you understand the difference between CAD data, which is essentially any information that is received between a caller, the dispatch, and the police car. Very limited time of day, the nature of the call, who's assigned, where it is. It's important information, but it's not the meat and potatoes of policing and problem solving. However, that CAD data is instantaneously available for query once the call goes out. But in addition to that, because our crime reporting is online, the officers generate the reports from the computer in the car, and it's wirelessly transmitted into our system. We start getting RMS data, the actual MO information. So instead of just knowing that you had an auto burglary, now you know what times of day it could have occurred between, what was taken out of the car, whether any suspects, whether any evidence collected. All of that information, the RMS information, comes much faster. In some jurisdictions, you find it might take a week or two to start having someone actually read a report and enter that information. So it's a huge time saver and it really brings quality police service. So that information then goes to our crime analysis unit, which we're going to talk about in just a second. It's analyzed, it's pushed back out, so the next day when that officer returns to briefing or returns from his days off, he can see exactly what activity occurred in his beat over the last 12 hours that he wasn't there or the 4 days that he was off. So in terms of geopolicing, this is the meat and potatoes of knowing what's going on inside your beat. Now I'm going to ask our crime analysis unit manager, Danielle Martel, to walk you through a series of common queries that we use through our Mega dashboard. I know we're the only, one of the only agencies in the state that has this technology and this information available not only to the police but to city management. So Danielle, if you wouldn't mind, just please, we've run a couple of queries for you just as an example.
Good evening. We recently partnered up with this company in San Diego so that we could have immediate data for our officers, our detectives, some of our crime prevention specialists, so that they can have information quickly at their fingertips. We found that this enables crime analysis to do more analysis instead of just pulling data. So I've prepared 4 different slides for you just to give you an idea of what it can do. So as an officer in District 4, I can see that this is specifically set up for our auto burgs and our theft from vehicles. This is our last 14 days. This gives you an idea, and you can see in here that there's quite a concentration. It allows us to put a map on that illuminates the fact that this is a problem area. So our officers would know, as far as patrol, that they need to be out there more often. Crime prevention could speak to our citizens, and our detectives can work on this crime to find out if it's a series or a trend. What's nice about this product is it also allows us to find out what time of day and day of week that we're having the most issues, so we can make sure to deploy people properly. Instead of random patrolling, we can have actual tactical action plans on that. We also have, as a big topic that's come up in Orange County lately, is sex crimes and sex offenders in parks. So you can set up a query to automatically tell you that there was a sex crime in a park and what happened, so our detectives can be on top of it, our park rangers can know about it, and our patrol can also go by any parks to make sure that this does not occur again. Our chief is very into knowing where repeat locations are, so our officers are not continually going to the same location over and over. He wants to problem solve so our officers can make sure that they're out there doing more with the community. So what we did is we set up a repeat call for service, and so this will tell you what your high locations are in the city that continually have problems. In District 4 here, you will see that this location has popped up as one that has multiple locations and issues. So if I were to click on this, it will just illuminate this one address. I can then see what has been going on at this address. This is a very recent problem that we discovered, that someone was going into this apartment complex and slashing tires of the vehicles. Our intelligence-led policing is already on this, and same with crime analysis. So this gives us the ability to quickly pick up on a trend and try and stop it from continuing. And once again, you can go into the charts and reports and find out that Sunday was obviously the highest day for this location, and let the apartment managers know that they should get someone out there and talk to their people too. See if they can put security out there at the times of the day that it's been happening. The last one I'll show you is our traffic collision calls for service. As you can see, there's certain locations that have multiple numbers. Those are going to be our accident locations that have a lot of calls for service. So that's where you're going to turn on your heat map again, and that's where your traffic officers should be spending their time doing enforcement. This is a great tool, once again, for our traffic officers to be able to see what times of the day and day of the week they should be out there. This is what we talked about with the calls for service and being able to deploy when we feel there's the most activity. We also have a temporal grid that is available, and it's a little small probably on your screen, but the red areas definitively tell you what days and what times are the highest concentration for our traffic sergeant. We've also set up queries on demand for our officers for certain locations. As an example, we have a bar in our city that has been having an unusually high amount of calls for service. So an officer requested that they be able to see at all times what these calls for service are. So we have highlighted this area, and they can go into the charts and report and actually read what all the calls for service were. This gives us an idea if their efforts to try and get the bar in line has worked or not. So we have noticed some decrease in calls for service. We can also set up for a school. We have Esperanza High School. Our school resource officers and our patrol officers will know what's going on. Once again, you can go in here and actually see what type of calls for service happened, or you can go into the charts and report. We found that this is making our jobs in crime analysis a lot easier for us to start actually problem solving for our officers instead of just pulling statistics. It's been a great tool so far. We've only had it up and running a couple months, but we have found so many problems based on this. And that's the end of my discussion. Thank you.